Hello, everyone. Welcome to Telling Tales. It's Symbaroum night, and more than just Symbaroum night, it is the finale of Wrath of the Warden, the first part of their extended campaign, Throne of Thorns, and we're very, very excited to be playing it. Hi, hello, whether you be new or you have watched this from the beginning, although if you have watched it from the beginning, have a special prize of no consequence, just my thanks. That's all you're getting. So, let's get that pesky promo out of the way before we crack on with recaps and then into the finale itself. If you check down below, you will see a bunch of links to YouTube, links to Twitch. You're watching on one, please check out the other. Subscribe and follow and things with bells and all that stuff. We run 2 games weekly at the moment. I have to think about that every time because I keep forgetting that one of them is on hiatus. We run Shadows of Estron on Mondays. We don't even do that. This is all a disaster. This is a disaster. Shadows of Estron has just finished. But picking up soon in the next couple of weeks, we will have a new series on Monday of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. And we usually clearly have Symbaroum on a Wednesday, but obviously this is about to go on break as well after this finale. But hang on to the end and we'll talk about what's coming next. But yeah, we usually run Mondays and Wednesdays, 8 o'clock PM BST. There we go. That'll do. We also have links below for Discord, Patreon, social media. They all do as you'd expect. And we run a one-shot on usually the first weekend of every month, but it kind of varies a little bit. The last one was Tales from the Loop, which has been critically acclaimed, by which I mean the people on our Discords, it really seem to like it. And the next one we have is on Saturday the 16th, which will be Call of Cthulhu, but different Call of Cthulhu in space. Johnny's going to be running that. He's already done a mini series in that style. If you want to go check it out, called The Long Silent Night, over on our YouTube. Yeah, there we go. That's the promo out of the way. And you know what? It was slapdash because I'm excited. That's why, because I'm excited to be running this climactic episode, and you should be excited to be watching it, or in the case of all the horrible faces I can see at the bottom of my screen, to be playing in it. So speaking of horrible faces, it's a lie. He's beautiful. Let's bring on our first player, which is Sam. And Sam plays Ascarai, the Changeling Scout, Archer, and Doer of DPS. How are you doing tonight, Sam? Excited?
I'm very excited. I'm interested to know what exactly is going on in this kind of cursed lake, place of power, how this godhead is involved, whether we're all going to end up killing each other due to its corruptive nature. I'm very excited.
Could happen. So why don't you tell us how we started last week?
We started in the middle of a fight in the tannery, which is where we'd been told this cult was sort of hiding out. And it turned out to be true. We'd sort of barged in, and it was just a big old brawl, really. The city guards did pretty well, but had also a few casualties. We had Earthons just carving people up, Furia setting people on fire, as they do. And I think our group, we fared pretty well against the standard cultist. Elindra threw at least one person into a horrible vat of horrible liquid. And I think most of us got a good few kills on the
I think even Anton got a kill, so it did all right.
Getting better and better with the flail. I think the main 2 things that happened, other than us fighting quite successfully the cultists, were that Elindra used her witch sight to sort of see in the middle of the battle that the badness was kind of coming from down below, and Arundar sort of slipped ahead of the rest of the group in the middle of the battle down these stairs towards the back of the tannery to see what was down there. But for the most part, we wiped out the cultists and sort of made our way towards the basement.
Absolutely. You carved your way through them admirably, albeit getting a little battered along the way. And let's bring on our second player. Already been mentioned. It's John, who plays Arindar, last scion of House Dar, sort of naive and idealistic young adventurer, with a pet cat now as well. I mean,
Yes.
for a given definition of cat, pet ravening feline beast.
Cat.
Cat, yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's
So, what did you find down in the cellar of the tannery, Arendar?
well, when Aaron first appeared, he found a fair amount of nothing because he is not a vigilant individual. But there were a number of doors, which I think we only managed to force one of them open, and found a large amount of Symbaric items that the guards were very interested in recovering. And we found a pedestal with nothing on it apart from a blanket that was embroidered in some kind of runes that we didn't recognize. And then, upon finding that the pedestal moves, we gave it a shove, and a small child jumped out and stabbed Steo in the neck.
Yes, absolutely. And I think you've given Chris's update there as well.
Sorry.
It's okay. We can bring him on. He doesn't have to say anything. It's probably for the best. So, with that in mind, let's bring on Chris. Chris plays Steo, resident spearman, former infantryman and town guard turned curmudgeonly sellsword. Chris, hi.
It's okay if you don't want to talk to me.
So our fourth play. No. Chris, tell us how excited you are for tonight, including if that is. I'm not excited at all, Matt. I couldn't care less.
And I'm excited isn't really the word. I've just looked up my hit point totals and realized that the 20 minutes I spent before the session planning Steel's late game evolution might have been in vain.
It's fine. It'll be fine. It might not be fine. So, yes, absolutely. Let's bring on our fourth player, Stephen. Stephen plays Alindra, former Templar novice, turned sellsword. Yeah. Hi, Stephen.
Hello. Yeah. It all sort of went a bit crazy in the tannery, didn't it? So, in the midst of the fight, Alindra sort of had a kind of a moment of religious faith in Prios, followed immediately by some awful dice rolls, which meant that she just kind of, I think, embodied the spirit of Antom's luck for a while there. But then, yeah, kind of got into this like sorceress witch site. I don't know, tuning into the mysteries of Davakar something. She kind of went on a bit of a vision quest. Or just some kind of hallucinatory dissociative experience. So she sort of followed the shadows down to the basement, and on the platform, the kind of dais, which was kind of empty except for a blanket to the eyes of everybody else, but she saw the head of the god at some point, like maybe in the past, and then went and had a series of other visions, including a sinkhole in the forest and like a lake with a sort of dark, starless something above it, and then a like a cavern sort of full of
crystals all over the wall.
Yeah, so she was quite confused by all of this whilst sort of other events were going on, but when she sort of came to herself enough to speak, she was talking to
Furia, I believe.
It was Furia, that's right, and trying to kind of relay what she'd seen, and sort of went, yeah, sinkhole, cave, lake, crystal. Oh,
yeah. Furia was like, "You dolt," and basically did his usual patronizing self. And
yeah.
I think he intimated that he believed that the god itself may have been trying to show you something. Perhaps its new location.
He stuck in some insults about like ignoring your training, and I have no idea whether he was referring to like the church training or some other kind of training that Alindra hasn't had. So sufficiently motivated, she kind of stormed out of the tannery towards the sinkhole, really, and was I think eventually followed by everyone else.
Yeah, this kind of map towards the sinkhole provided to you by the visions, and to the crystal isle deep beneath Thistlehold. And as you are heading on the way, I think first detectable by Alindra and other mystics, and then by everyone, was the an rapidly increasing thudding heartbeat, which was resonating through the town. And
that's
to
right.
tell us a bit about how that increased horribly and what else happened on the way to the sinkhole, let's bring on our final player, Mike. Fan favorite Anton is who he plays. Theurg of Prios, roller of terrible dice, and sometime healer and flailer. Hi, Mike. How's it going?
Evening, everyone. I'm doing fine, and I will continue where Stephen left off. So we were on the way to the sinkhole. This sort of like pounding heartbeat-esque rhythm was sort of spreading throughout the town and seemed to be having some sort of unsettling effect on some of the residents who were in a bit of a frenzy by it, perhaps. We saw a group of people attack Dirac of the town guard. So Derek was sort of, and his men were sort of fighting them off. And at this point, we all had to roll resolute as well, presumably to sort of, repel this rage from ourselves. And I think we all managed it with the exception of Steo. I think
Correct.
I've got that right.
Yeah.
I think I also failed.
Okay.
Those two people, and let's not forget that. Like, I'm not going to say you lose control, but definitely you have a certain amount of bloodlust upon you. You definitely want to perhaps solve problems ahead of you in a very head-on fashion.
Yeah,
kind of taking you over.
So we had a bit of a chat with a very brief chat with Dirac, quite a lot of shouting with Dirac and swearing with Dirac, as it tends to normally be. We told him that we wanted to go down to the sinkhole. His men let us, so we went down without Ferren, the meerkat. And at the bottom of the sinkhole, we realised that we were not alone. There were torches lit down there, and there were 4 figures in the shadow in a row, maybe waiting for us. And that is where the session ended.
Absolutely. Certainly between you and the Crystal Isle. So, absolutely, there is where we pick up. And I'm happy to pick up immediately. I did note in the private chat, because people were saying, oh God, we have no health left. And I'm perfectly happy, because we do have... Anton has, for anyone who doesn't know, has a bottle full of, I keep forgetting what it's called, Water of the Dusk?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Water of the Dusk, which is a nice Healy thing. And I think he definitely has enough left in the bottle for everyone to have a swig if they want. So if anyone, I think it's perfectly fine in that time available, and perhaps Anton would feel like it's a good idea if there's some walking wounded among you. Is there anyone who would like to take a drink of Water of Dusk? Steo for sure. Is everyone else doing all right?
Yeah, I think I'm full.
Sure.
I'm not full, but I think Alindra's going to be all stoic about it, because
plow on. Steo then can pause and take a drink. So that's 1d10 healing, Steo.
What's D10?
Mm-hmm.
So it's D6.
That's right, isn't it, Mike?
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's a d10. Yeah.
Here we go. 4, which is exactly the number I needed.
There we go then. That's all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that. I'm going to take that as well, because I am down 3 health points and I only have 10. So
yeah, that's fair. Let's see what you roll.
Oh, sorry guys, I've not got my dice roller open. What a disaster! Feel free to come back to me.
That's all right. If you want a better result, I could roll for you.
I've rolled a 2, so
okay,
almost healed.
There we go. So let's paint this picture. You're at the bottom of the sinkhole beneath Davakar. The ropes are slung up behind you. You're on top of this large rubble heap that you're familiar with from being down here multiple times before. Up above you, very little light is coming down from above. It's a stormy night overhead, and the rain you're still you're not in the lee of that of the ground overhead, so you're still being just absolutely poured down on from above. Behind you, where the ropes are, is essentially a waterfall, which is now gushing over the stone and gravel and rocks under your feet, and the rubble of the buildings that poured down into this hole. It seems like months ago now, though it's only really a couple of weeks when the sinkhole first appeared in Thistlehold. Ahead of you, the encroaching darkness of the cavern, lit only by a few sputtering torches, not your torches, nor the city guard or the Ordo Magica torches, but presumably the torches of the leadership of the cult who remain down here. And ahead of you, as you know, there are tunnels that will lead you to the Dark Lake and to the Crystal Isle upon it. But between you and those tunnels are 4 individuals standing abreast, barring your way. Over to you.
Matt, would you feel comfortable with me rolling again for Blessed Shield, or is it too soon after I last did it? Because I think I tried.
No, that's absolutely fine. If anyone wants to do any preparatory mysticism, go ahead and do that now.
I think we'll have a go at turning on the Revenant Strike.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
Which is, it just costs an action, and
I don't think you have to roll for it, do you? It just does. Yeah, it's a free. It's not a roll, but you need to take corruption.
That's 3 for anybody counting along at home.
Sure. They're quite away from you, because as you know, this cavern is very large. Are we proceeding towards them?
I think I'm knocking an arrow and probably aiming at them.
Sure, it'd be quite a distance to fire, especially in the dark.
Okay,
but
just to be ready.
One of my points with the distance is, I think
there is a loop.
No, go ahead, Chris.
If I recall, there is a loop in the layout of these underground tunnels, but it does not benefit us. It doesn't get us any closer.
I don't think it would benefit you at all.
Pond.
Like you'd come out on the southern side of the cavern if you went around, but you'd also be, I guess, running the risk of running into some of those big lizards again, and they wouldn't be surprised by you. They'd still see you coming from a different angle.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of. Sorry, I was going to say I think there's a couple of tunnels that go to the lake, but only one of them. The one that goes most kind of north and then cuts across actually takes us to the island, right? There we go. Look,
there we go.
Wow.
Lovely stuff.
It's diagonal from that very northerly cavern, right?
It is. You could still easily get. It's just I think the last time you went, you definitely didn't want to even put your boots in the water, just in case it was like horribly evil and melted you. You definitely could go through any of the tunnels and essentially get to the land. In fact, I think the most convenient is that middle one. It's just the first time around you took the top one and you just waded through the water. So yeah.
And the lads are barring the way north, I assume. Yeah,
they're barring. I mean, they're just stood roughly. Assume that you couldn't just run and dodge around them in some weird. You can't kite them.
Steele's current frame of mind is the exact opposite of kiting, and he is kind of walking down the spoil heap, kind of just directly towards them.
No problem.
All
right then.
I draw my blades and also follow along beside Steo and call. Will you stand aside and let us pass?
Well, as you're walking forward and calling this out, I think one of my points to how much of a distance it was is that, Mike, I think you can definitely go ahead and make another roll for Blessed Shield to try and continue trying to invoke it if you want before you reach them. There is a moment of silence, and then you hear the soft tinkling of a woman's laughter and a loud, booming voice lifting up, saying, "We do not feel that is prudent, but we are happy to negotiate."
And what are your terms?
Simply to be left in peace. As you get closer, you can see, and for some reason, I don't know why, but in the book there are portraits of two of them, but not the other two, and I don't know why. But regardless, John, if we can have those portraits up, please. You see that the person who was speaking is a large. I probably have a better description of them here. A large, towering ogre, clutching a mystic staff, and looking at you with a soft smile on his face, and seeming very, very reasonable in his position of why he might want to negotiate with you. Stood next to him is a shorter, slender woman in an Ordo Magica robe. Perhaps the one who laughed. She has a wide smile on her face and is looking around at each of you in seeming amusement. And then stood slightly next to them and also in front of them are two changelings, one of whom is pictured there, clearly twins. In the way they're holding themselves identically, and they look more or less the same. You think they may be a man and a woman, but it's hard to tell. They both have long blades and daggers drawn, and seem very disinterested in the negotiation, as if they already know the direction it may be going.
I think as Ascarai feels, especially under the effects of this bloodlust, that he would like to shoot the people who are laughing at us. So I think as soon as we are within a reasonable range to shoot, he will just shoot at them.
He's just going to do it. I will happily give the party, if they want to, an opportunity to try and stop Ascarai doing this. But given how Steo feels, probably not going to be Steo. Does anyone else want to prevent or try and persuade Ascarai to stop doing this? That's not because it's a bad idea. Just I feel like we don't often have one person start the combat for us, if you know what I mean. So I wanted to give the rest of you a chance to, if you wanted to.
I'm going to say that I'm at the front with Steo and have my back to Ascarai, and I'm focusing on the people in front of me.
That's very legit of you.
I will put a hand on Ascarai's arm and say, shall we at least try this without violence?
We're going to end up killing these people, but if you want to...
It's likely, but it's polite to try.
If we want, because if we want, we can simply resolve this, if you wanted to, with a bit of good old PvP persuasive roll for Alindra against Ascarai's Resolute.
Sure.
If you're happy with that, Sam.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Leave that to chance. Sure. Well, what's your Resolute, Sam?
I think my Resolute is 11.
Okay, then that's going to be a persuasive roll at -1, please.
Gosh, so my persuasive is 7, so I'm trying to get a 6 or below. That's a 7.
Oh.
It was a bold attempt.
Yeah, Ascarai does not seem persuaded. Mike, are you doing anything, or are you wrapped up in casting a Blessed Shield again?
I've cast my Blessed Shield, but I think if I am aware of this going on, I think that I would just sort of quizzically look at Ascarai and perhaps call out his name with a bit of surprise, because this is quite unlike him. But beyond that, I think I would just let him do his thing, because Anton trusts Ascarai to normally make pretty sound decisions. And
this is a horrible, corrupted cult, right? So Anton's pretty down with them getting stuck full of arrows. Okay, so what we're going to do here then, they are absolutely ready to fight, as you all are here. I'm going to say that you're all, at this point, I'd say a double movement away from each other. So with that in mind, let's get our initiative sorted. and I'll. I think. I mean, Askarai usually goes first anyway, so there we go. So these are slightly more complex initiatives than we're used to, John. So let me know when you've got the list of players up.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Ogre Mystic
Ooh.
can be listed as Quickness 15 and Vigilant 10.
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready for the next one.
Mystic is 15 and 10. Yep.
Human Wizard or Human Mystic. That's fine. I mean, she is in an Auto Magica robe, so you can call her Human Wizard or Human Mystic. And she's at Quickness 7 and Vigilant 10.
Oh.
And the Changeling twins will share an initiative. And they are at Quickness 14 and Vigilant 11.
Okay. Then Askarai does indeed go first.
Okay. Now, folks, let me tell you, this is obviously part of the climactic fight. There's a reason I let you heal up before you went into it. So just be aware. All I'm saying is we might want to think about this fight as it goes on a bit more than, that's all. Or not, or just fucking have at them. There is a possibility if you roll well, you could nuke this. But also, yeah, I just feel like warning you. So can we have that initiative up, please, John?
Yeah, just getting it together. But yeah, Askarai does go first.
Okay. Then Askarai, it sounds to me like you're firing an arrow at the human wizard lady.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
Does not
Well
appreciate
then,
being laughed at in his current state of anger.
absolutely. So, and this is an interesting thing that I don't know. I'm immediately here going to hit a question of whether whether a certain thing does a certain thing. 1 second. I'm just looking at something in the Games Master's Guide here on whether certain things cause corruption and certain things don't.
I hit it. I hit the whole thing.
Yeah. I'm going to rule that one doesn't, but I don't know if it does or not really. So it's a shot, and it's just defense +3.
Okay. I'm gonna do my armor piercing shot, I think, rather than my double shot.
Sure.
So I need an 18. I rolled a 19, but I might re-roll this for a 1 XP.
Go for
Since
it.
I'm so likely to succeed. I'm gonna re-roll for an XP. I rolled a 7, so I hit.
There we
on the
go.
re-roll.
Note that re-roll, Chris. That XP burn. Absolutely. So, and you're going to kill me. Could you re-roll that for me, please?
Okay. I rolled a 17, so it still hits.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. As you knock your arrow and loose it, that you have an odd sensation, like you're moving backwards, kind of away from this woman in the Order Magica robe, and kind of elements of darkness and shadow and the torches kind of like all jaggedly come together, as if your vision is kind of like shifting round or shattering slightly, and you feel this kind of wash of mystic power rolling out from her, as if there's something interfering with your senses. But you know how to make an arrow fly true, and fly true it does. Can you give me a damage roll, please?
Okay, this is a D10 plus 1. I rolled a 10 plus 1 is 11. Ignoring armor.
Ignoring armor. Your arrow strikes her square between the eyes. The laughter dies on her lips, and she tips back onto the ground, dead. You have no idea how easy you just made this fight.
You just FNA'd it.
So we proceed to the turn of the Ogre Mystic. The Ogre Mystic is going to lift. Well, first of all, he's going to say, "Oh, well," and then lift one arm. And as he does so, you see that he has a quiver slung at his hip from which 5 arrows rise into the air and seem to be wreathed in a kind of a shell of crackling lightning. These just kind of float in the air next to him, and with the flick of one finger, one of the arrows darts out with 0 chance of missing, and it strikes Ascarai, because I think that feels appropriate. So can you please... Oh, that's a good point, though. We should ask, and yes, we have forgotten Erfon, so we can pop him in at the end of the list. There was a question. Yes, Mike, who else is your Blessed Shield enveloping?
I said Steo in the chat.
Okay, no problem. I hate to be a curmudgeon about it, but could we spell Erfons right, please? That would be good.
Yes. Can you remind me how to spell?
It's just
Erfons?
a U at the beginning instead of an E.
Okay.
Ascarai, can you give me a armor roll, please? Because this storm arrow has struck you square.
Okay, that's 2d4 since I have my nice cloak. I got a 4 and a 1, so 5 armor.
Okay, the storm arrow is caught by your lindworm cloak, shatters and disperses onto the ground next to you. So that's all right. And that is the Ogre Mystic's turn. Next, it is time for those changeling twins. They are going... I think they're just going to draw their blades and kind of... I don't think they're going to move forward at all. I think they're just going to just stand there and waiting for you. I think that's what they're going to do. Is there anything? No, they don't have any ranged options, so I think they're just going to stand there and wait for you. Being as it's 2 movement to them, why would they charge you? Elindra.
I think Elindra is just going to continue her nice, friendly saunter with her flaming sword out towards them. So I think I'm going to use one of those movement, continuing to walk. I'm not going to charge or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm giving it a round to see if people will like talk it through. Like Elindra's well aware that probably shouldn't be her to do the talking.
Sure, absolutely. Arendar.
I'm going to move 1 step forward, and then I'm going to give one last attempt at throw down your weapons.
Okay. The Ogre Mystic calls back, "We are more than happy to put them away should you put yours away. We simply want to talk." He doesn't seem particularly upset by the death of the woman.
Okay. Well, then... No.
Good. Negotiations went well.
Aaron's panicking. Something's going on.
Sure. Can we just talk? Yeah, let's talk. No.
We can talk from here.
Okay, I think that's probably all the time there is for this particular thing, being as these
That's
rounds
fine.
don't last particularly long. So you basically haven't moved, is that right?
I move forward 1 step, like one unit of movement.
Okay, right. So you're equivalent to where Elindra is, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Steo.
So can I close the gap to the ogre and engage them this turn?
You probably can't engage with the ogre because the changelings are in front and will almost certainly like intercept you on the way. But you can try, but the changeling will probably intercept you.
I feel, despite the intoxicating brain foolery going on, Steele's kind of in his happy place, kind of moving forward steadily, kind of almost in a rank. And so I'm going to continue.
Is the group just walking forward slowly to let Askarai just kill them one by one?
No, the thing is, I don't. So there's movement economy here, because I could move into the changelings.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no. If I move into the changelings, they both have to engage me, which means I get.
Well, they might not both have to engage you, but certainly if you charge forward into one of them, you will get a free attack because of your long. Yeah.
And I'll definitely get that attack, but I won't get the second backup attack. But it's still pretty good. Plus, I got the armor buff. I'll break into a trot, and by that I mean I will move to engage them this turn.
Sure, absolutely. With you move and engage the changeling woman who dashes kind of like to one side, kind of weaves through the air towards you, and go ahead and make your free attack on her at a -8, please.
Oof! Right. Oh, that is not happening.
Nope. You are now engaged with her, and yeah, your free attack has missed, which means she doesn't get knocked back, which means, yeah, you're just engaged, essentially. But they've already gone this turn, so that's a plus. Anton.
I will have my flail in hand, and I will move, I guess, in line with Arundar and Elindra, but I am not going to move.
You're not going to charge in ahead like Steel. Yeah. No, that seems reasonable. Okay, so we've got this little line moving forward with Steel ahead, and I think Urfons is probably going to stay with that line as well, and may even kind of like call out briefly to Steel as you run ahead, and then he kind of shakes his head and just keeps that glittering silver sword level, and then moves forward with the rest of you, and then. Okay, that's round 1. Not noting down the number of rounds for any reason. Askarai, you're up next. Okay. You're going to down another one of my big bads in one shot? Is that what you're going to do?
I'm going to try, Matt. I'm going to try. I think I'm going to shoot the ogre. Seems leadery-ish of this group.
Seems like a reasonable idea. Okay. Are you gonna do your armor shot, or are you gonna do a?
It's an ogre, so I will do the armor piercing shot. Feels like an ogre would be.
Sure.
Tough to hit.
That's reasonable. Well, you can roll me an attack at a -2, then, please.
-2. So I need a 13. I rolled an 11, so I make it. And the damage, please be a 10. It's a 6 + 1 is 7. Ignoring armor.
Okay. 7 ignoring armor, did you say?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I feel honor bound to tell you that goes over the pain threshold.
Nice.
Okay. I was like, this will be a really interesting combat. It's not. You're just going to nuke them. Okay. Lesson learned.
I'll take another shot, although this one won't be armor piercing, so it might be.
Oh yeah, okay.
More difficult.
-2 again.
I rolled a 19, so I miss.
Yay! So, so yeah, your arrow, your first carefully aimed arrow, wings through the air and slams into the ogre's shoulder. For the first time, you see a flicker of something less than geniality across the ogre's face. A sudden unpleasant snarl crosses his features, and he kind of reaches up and snaps the arrow off with one hand. Your other arrow goes wide, and then the ogre mystic lifts his finger and kind of like spreads a hand through the air, and 3 of the arrows fire through the air, and I think we'll fire 2 at Askarai and 1 at Steo. They all hit. They hit automatically. So can we have an armor roll for Steo first, please? Yeah, the storm arrow just shatters on impact with your plate and crumples into the ground beneath your feet. First armor roll for you, please, Ascarai.
Okay. 2d4 again. First one is a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is a 3.
Okay. The first arrow is deflected again by your cloak. The second one is kind of partly deflected and flicks off and scores a rather unpleasant line down your hip and then gets caught in the tangle of the inside of your cloak and crumbles to the ground. That is 1 toughness, please.
Okay.
Changeling twin time. So we are going to the first one is, here's the interesting thing now. Does it count? Because here's the thing. Does Steo's ability mean he can never be flanked?
No, you'll still get the flank, but I will get the free attack.
But
So you still get the bonus.
Why? Do you have 2 sides to your head? Like, if they're approaching from behind you, how would you get the free attack?
Yoda in the third Star Wars, in the third
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
movie style.
But like, yeah, I think know. I'm not sure.
Like you still get the bonus from. My understanding is, first off, we know that the second level of Polar Mastery is irrefutable. It's always a free attack if there is an engagement.
Yeah.
The benefit from flanking is not annulled by that by any means. So you still get the extra damage. Like, to give your own example back at you, the guys behind me, maybe I've scored a hit on him with some fancy wire work, but he's still behind me and has an open shot.
No, sorry, Stephen's just put a thing. No, the house rule is that once you can turn to face them, that 2 people a second person can flank you, but then after they flanked you, you can turn and face them and not be repeatedly flanked by them.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess flanking is engaging. It just seems so weird that you're just like this. Yeah, like you say, wire work ninja, which doesn't seem to be in that much keeping with the feel of the game. But sure.
It does feel like a spear is kind of a directional thing, right? Like if
but sure.
You can also, like, you can attack someone behind you with a spear, like, fairly easily.
Yeah, but only if you know they're coming.
True.
But yeah, that's fine. It's fine. It seems to be the rule, so we'll run with it. So what I would like first then is Steo's free attack at the male changeling who is going to flank him from behind. So if you can roll that at a -8, please.
-8. Here we go.
Nope. All that wrangling over nothing. So let's have the non-flanked attack first, please. So if you could roll a oh no, I should be checking the accuracy of these individuals. Oh no, the attack with discreet and oof. Can you give me a defense roll at -6, please, Steo?
I think that's still a fail. I'm sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button, and I was doing numbers in my head, and all the numbers were bad.
Sure. Can you give me a second flank at well, I say at -6, but doesn't a flank also give you an attacker +2 on their attack roll? So that's, I assume that's +1 for a no, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. Let me start this again. Well, that was a hit, so we'll so the second attack will do properly this time. Which means the second flanking attack, because they get 2 attacks per turn, is at a defense roll at -8, please.
Ooh, 2s or 1s. 3.
Okay. Can we get 2 armor roll, please? 2 armor rolls.
Anton, would you remind me of the buff?
It's a D6.
So I get a D10 plus a D6. 4 plus 4. That's 8 on the first one.
8 on the first one, and on the second one?
9 plus 5. 14.
14. Okay, so I'm trying to work this out here. So for that first attack, there's a standard of 4, and then with advantage, that goes up to 6, and then with backstab novice goes up to 8. So that's exactly what you needed for that one. And the next one is definitely lower because the next one is with their parrying dagger. So it does less damage. So you did manage to deflect all the damage away from those 2 backstabs. The male changeling behind you kind of cursing as his blades are slowed by the blessed shield and slowed very abruptly by the plate armor you are wearing. Time for the one who's attacking you from the front. So can you give me 2 it'll be 2 attacks, 2 defense rolls at -6, please.
4s or less. 15, 19.
Okay, 2 armor rolls again, please.
First one is 7 plus 4, 11. And the second one is 2 plus 3 is 5.
Okay. Yep, that is absolutely fine. Their blades, again, fail to cleave, either cleave or find a gap in your armored form. Wow, this group are doing terribly so far. Good fun. So, Elindra.
Right, so Steo's run on ahead and is facing away from me towards the female changeling, the ogre. The male changeling is behind him, facing
Correct.
Steo, which means he's
Correct.
got his back to me, right? I presume that's going to involve, if I go up and engage him, that's going to involve some kind of flanking or surprise.
Yeah. If someone's already engaged, you can flank them.
The question is, will I ruin that element of surprise if I speak as I walk up?
Probably not.
Okay, so
they're in the middle of battle.
So in the time it takes me to cross the distance between him and the changeling, I will announce to the group, to the ogre and the changelings, like, I wanted to negotiate, but you must understand, my colleagues and I have had quite the day, and then essentially wail on this changeling.
Sure. So that's an attack with an advantage. So that reduces your attack penalty on this changeling to -6.
To a mere -6.
A mere -6. Yeah.
Okie dokie. So that's that. So I need a 9. I get a 19. That's not ideal.
That is not ideal. Perhaps the talking did catch the changeling's attention then, as that changeling kind of wheels round. So he's now facing you and Steo, effectively kind of engaging you both.
Shame.
Yeah. Aaron Dar.
I'm going to come up on the male changeling's third side without saying anything, and also try and hit him.
Sure. So yeah, that's again an attack at -6.
-6. It's a 50-50 chance.
Triangular changelings.
Oh, have you got an exceptional attribute?
Have
you got an exceptional attribute?
No, my to hit attribute is 16.
So you have got an exceptional attribute then.
Then yes.
Attributes only go up to 15.
Oh, okay. So my accurate is 15, and I've got a +1 for the precise nature of my sword.
Yeah.
That was not a hit, so I'm going to re-roll it
with an XP.
With an XP. Could you burn an XP for me, please, Chris? That's even worse. No.
Okay. All right. Well, what they make up for in a lack of killing power so far, they're clearly doing all right in just not being able to hurt them. So Aaron is now engaged. Steo, I'm assuming you're going to turn so you're facing both changelings, so that neither of them has your back, as it were. Yeah. Neither of them have been hurt so far. So yeah.
Well, I can't take advantage without disengaging.
Mhm.
Much as I'd love to take 2 more free attacks from these people to get some HP off the ogre, I think I'm going to go ahead and attack the first changeling I was dealing with.
Sure, the female changeling. Go for it. And that is an attack at a -8, please.
Good God. 15, 49. 7s or less. 10.
There we go. See, we only needed the changelings. It's just locked in. I suppose I should describe this as we're doing it. I haven't been describing this combat very much, but the changelings are, they're moving like coiled snakes, weaving around your blades, swiping out with theirs to clang against armor or to kind of just narrowly miss your exposed faces and hands. They are slippery individuals. So it's up to Anton. Save the day.
Is there room for me to flank around one
That's
of them?
a good point. I'm not entirely sure. It's a bit of a cluster here. I'm not entirely sure how you, at this point, I'm going to have, not even a house rule. I'm going to say it's enough of a mess that no, I don't think you can flank them because they're turning. Everyone is turning and kind of moving around to just keep everyone else in sight. But you can definitely run in, start engaging in this melee and just try and attack them if you want. Or the Ogre Mystic's still there.
Yeah, maybe I'll go for the Ogre Mystic.
Sure, absolutely.
Don't see how anything bad can come from this. So
no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Let's go for that. I failed my attack roll.
Sure, it was at -2 as well, but
yeah.
Sure, but you run up and engage him. The Ogre Mystic kind of turns and snarls at you as you run up and sort of makes himself ready with a large staff as he does so. But your flail finds no purchase. Urfons is going to... I don't know. What is Urfons going to do? I think I might roll a die to see what Urfons does. Urfons is going to dash past, kind of look around at everyone there, glance over his shoulder at Askarai and say, "You've got this, right?"
Askarai will nod while knocking another arrow.
He kind of flashes you a gleeful grin and says, "Time to kill me an antique stealer," and dashes kind of past around the melee and on towards the tunnels towards the lake. Askarai, that's the end of round 2. Askarai.
As much as I believe in Antom's ability to kill this Ogre Mystic, I think I'm still going to take another shot at him.
Sure. Is that going to be an armor shot or a double shot?
I think an armor shot. Not sure what's best, but I'm going to get armor shots. I need a 13. I rolled a 15, so I miss.
That's a bad miss from Askarai there. You're perhaps the ogre leaps back at a wild swing from Anton, and your arrow goes wide. Speaking of arrows, the Ogre Mystic is going to fire that one remaining hovering storm arrow at Anton, because why wouldn't he? Anton's the one all up in his face. It hits automatically, so let's have an armor roll from you, please, Anton.
6 in total.
The storm arrow stands no chance against the blessed shield of Prios, and the lightning is torn off it, followed by the wood and the metal tearing apart as it shatters uselessly against your divine protection.
I will give a wry smile.
The ogre is going to try a different tack. Can you please, Anton, can you please roll Resolute at a -3 for me?
No, I rolled what I needed to if it was a flat roll. 13.
No problem. And have you you have no kind of resistant powers against mystical abilities or anything like that, do you?
No.
Okay. Well then. The ogre is going to take a step back from you and reach out with one of the hands that isn't clutching the staff, and he kind of reaches for you and twists his hand in the air as he does so, and you feel a horrible, nauseating, churning sensation inside yourself, in your stomach, in your chest, in your legs, in your head. It's not even what Chris thinks it is. And you feel your form twisting and writhing. You drop to the ground and shudder in agony. And when the agony passes and you try and pick yourself up, you suddenly realize that you seem to remember having 2 legs, not 4. You're not sure what this heavy limb-like weight is at your rear, and your face feels odd, and your senses seem strangely warped. For the purposes of everyone else, Anton has just where Anton was stood is now the a very confused and uncertain and alarmed-looking monitor lizard, like a small cousin of the reptilian beasts you fought in here.
Yikes.
Novice ability. So, yeah. So you can still act on your initiative, but you basically can't do anything. You can move around. You can neither attack nor use items.
You're free to act, as long as you don't want to do anything at all.
Yeah. All you can do is move, essentially, and do monitor lizard type things. You're on mute, by the way, which is appropriate because all they can hear is a hissing.
Monitor lizards can't unmute.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Headphone with lizards can unmute. Monitor lizards cannot.
So that's the Ogre Mystic's turn. Time for the Changeling Twins. Has anyone? No one's hurt them yet, right? So I'm going to randomly assign their strikes. So with that in mind, let's have a strike on Steo. And that strike on Steo is going to be at a -6, please. Steo. Steo. Steo.
Okay.
The suspense.
So that's a hit. So that's an armor roll, please. I don't know why. It's also 2 strikes again, so I don't know why.
13 on the first roll.
13 on the first roll, that's fine. And then give me a defense, another defense at -6, and an armor roll if you fail it. See, their backstabs are the key to that. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, give me an armor roll, please.
$15 in total.
That's ludicrous. What's the fumble defense? Yeah, that's nowhere near. So Steo is far too tanky to have for that to have any impact. And the other changeling is going to attack Aaron Dar, which probably means that Aaron gets a free attack. Does your free attack when you get struck, does that happen first?
Mine?
Yeah.
It's only on a successful defense.
On a successful defense, okay. Well, can you give me, please, 2 defense rolls, both at -6?
Okay. -6, target is 14, so 8. That's a miss. Ooh, that's a 1. The second one is a 1.
Okay,
The first
deal
one
with,
hits.
let's deal with the first one first then.
Okay.
So if they hit you there, can you give me a armor roll, please?
Okay. 4.
That's exactly what you need. What is your armor?
D8 plus 1.
No, I mean,
Oh,
what is
laminated
it?
armor.
Laminated armor. Well, their dueling blade ricochets off that. It was a fairly good hit, but sadly, your armor managed to take it. And then the second one is a miss, which means you get an attack at them, right?
It was also a 1, which means I get... Well, I get an attack for the free attack, and then I get an attack for the riposte. Do I?
Yes, you get 2 attacks on them now, basically. So do you
Fantastic.
want to just bake both of those at a -8?
Am I flanking them still?
No, everyone's moved around now.
Okay.
No one's flanking anyone.
-8 is a miss and a miss.
Okay. So, all that, basically, you and this changeling weave around each other, striking, riposting, counter-striking, and in the end, you're left with nothing but a slight dent on your armor. So, Elindra.
Hi. I guess I'm still engaged with this male changeling then, right?
I'd say everyone in that fight with the changelings is engaged with everyone else. I think it's just one big melee. So,
well, I'm still going to go for him because I'm annoyed that I didn't get to hit him last time.
I think it was the woman you struck out last time because you said the first one who engaged you.
It was the man, but the male, because he was the one that had his back to me at the time. But,
all right, fair enough. Yep. Either way.
Okay. So what do we -8? -8. Gosh. So that's a strong 15. So I need an 8. That's a 10.
These attack rolls.
I'm quite tempted to
do a bit of the old XP reroll.
Yeah, we'll have what like I'm not sure that this has generally worked out so well for me, but we'll give it a go.
Okay, that's another XP burn, Chris.
Yeah, no, that's a fail.
Okay, 2 great slashes of your longsword in the air, but the changeling is nowhere to be found. Arindar.
I think probably just swing again at the changeling I was fighting.
Sure. I can't remember which one you are fighting. I think you're fighting the male one as well.
I think I was fighting the male one.
It doesn't make a difference right now. Neither of them have been hit once, so...
I'm not rolling well. I'm going to spend another XP and also swap out my D20.
The real thing that will have the effect.
It did. I rolled a 1.
Oh, there we go. A perfect hit, which gives you a plus D6 to your damage roll. So go ahead and do your damage roll, please.
Oh, I didn't get a D6 out because I didn't expect this, guys. There we go.
Get your best one, your special occasion D6.
Yeah.
Just roll a D3 twice.
8. 8 damage.
8 damage, was that?
Yep.
Okay. That is past his pain threshold.
Yes.
Another attack?
Yep.
Okay. It's -8 again.
That's a hit.
Oh.
Though only 1 damage.
Only 1 damage, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do this from the perspective of Elindra. You give those two great heaves with your longsword. The male changeling kind of rolls out the way to one side. His face hasn't changed since you started the fight. It looked not bored, but kind of still, and maybe part resignation, maybe part just this is his job. And as he ducks in and tries to slide a knife under your guard, he gives out a kind of grunt of pain and rolls back round to basically face you and Aaron more square on. And as he does so, you can see that under this kind of the heavy silks and leathers he's wearing, there's now the very kind of smallest little cut through one of the leathers by the side of his abdomen, and you can see blood slowly seeping and leaking down the outside of the leathers from it. And probably, I would imagine, Aaron seems to have a slight grin on his face at finally having struck this elusive foe. Steo, you're engaged with both of them. One of them's just been stabbed by Arindar.
I'm going to keep on the. I believe the changeling lady is the unstabbed
one,
member of
yeah,
the party,
sure.
so I'm going to have one more go at that. Once again, 7s are under.
Oh, how frustrating! An 8. There we go. This melee continues. Anton, what you doing, man?
Basking.
Sure.
No, I'm probably just freaked out and running away from the melee and the presumably now much more intimidating and bigger threats around me.
Yeah, I think you still have yourself in there and still kind of your intelligence, but I think it's overlaid with the sheen of animalistic urge here. And the noise and the larger creatures are probably setting off. But yeah, so you move or basically definitely scamper away far enough that the ogre can't just step on you. Would be certainly a good move.
That's my thinking.
So there we go. Irfon's, as for him, he vanishes into one of the tunnels ahead. He was running towards them last term, and now he has managed to vanish into there. As John says, remember, enemies that have had their pain threshold crossed have a disadvantage on rolls. Yes.
Which is a rule we never use because they always die as soon as
because
they cross
Askarai
the
just
pain
nukes
threshold.
them, essentially. Yeah.
Does that mean if we're enemies don't really roll, do we have advantage rolling against them?
I'd say that here's the question. Because do you guys have a disadvantage on defense rolls if you cross your pain threshold?
I think yes.
Then they do as well. Yeah, then it'll be roll twice to do that. So I will mark that down. Which means the Ogre Mystic does as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Ogre Mystic cross their pain threshold too. But they've barely rolled, so it's fine. I mean, they rolled to transform, Anton into a monitor lizard, but it's fun anyway. So Askarai, it's you.
Okay, I think Askarai sees Anton presumably get changed into a lizard by this ogre, and is going to keep shooting at him, but now he's going to do a double shot, maybe a bit more panicked. And firing faster rather than...
Absolutely. Well, that's a -2 at the ogre.
Okay. So the first shot, I need a 13. I rolled an 8. So would I roll this twice in case I get a 1? I mean, if he has one...
No, I don't. I think with advantage
rolls.
and disadvantage, you don't just roll twice. You don't just roll twice as you would in D&D, I don't think. It means you get a re-roll, doesn't it? Rather than rolling twice.
I thought a disadvantage is you just have like a penalty.
Yeah, you might get like a
minus. I mean, when you get an advantage, it's +2, right?
Yeah, on flanking.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need.
Yeah. It's just a +2. It's not a.
Okay. So I rolled an 8, which hits. So my damage is a 10 + 1, a 6 + 1, but not ignoring his armor, like affected by armor.
6 + 1, but not ignoring armor. Was that right?
Yep.
Well, that, my friend, is exactly what you need. The Ogre Mystic kind of has turned and is watching Anton kind of scamper off into the shadows with an ugly sort of sneer on his face, and turns back round just in time for your arrow to enter his throat. He looks somewhat confused, surprised, and honestly frustrated more than anything. Before he topples down and face plants on the floor of the cavern, and in the flickering light from the torches, just quickly becomes kind of just another rock-like shape lying there. So, Ogre Mystic dead. Anton, you start to contort and rise again back into your natural form. And I'd say, like, maybe, you spend all the time up to your turn now. Maybe I'd imagine you'd vomit a bit and sort of generally feel extremely unpleasant, but you are back to yourself on your turn for sure. Where's that second shot going, Ascarai?
I
The
think
wounded changeling? The unwounded
Ye-
changeling?
if I can tell from where I've been stood, that at the wounded changeling.
Focus fire. Focus fire. All right, that's an attack at. So it'll be a disadvantage for them. So it's a -6.
That's it. So I need a 9 or less. I get a 5. Hits. And the damage is a 7 plus 1, 8.
Again, more than enough. The changeling is reeling round from defending against Aaron and Alindra and kind of flashes the parrying dagger out in a quick feint towards Aaron's face, but they kind of freeze before the full extent of their arm reaches you and kind of look down. Again, slightly perhaps confused and surprised at the arrow sprouting from their lung, and then they topple backwards to the ground. The female changeling, for the first time for either of them, kind of has a look of consternation on her face, and in fact, kind of in an echoing cry, screams out, "Nyah!" and redoubles her attacks against the group. Does not look like she's going to give up. So we're on. This is the 4th round, by the way, just so we know. Just saying. We are now also onto the changeling, who is going to attack. Oh, Elindra. So can you give me 2 defense rolls, please, at -6?
2 defense rolls at -6.
Mhm.
Yes. This is also technically the first time that I have been engaged with this changeling, but I don't know if we're just. I don't know how long.
It's all one
playing
big
out
engagement right now.
Okay.
I don't want to.
The general smoosh. Okay,
Yeah.
so -6, defense is 13, so I'm going to need 7s. That's a fail and another fail.
Okay, so why don't you give me 2 armor rolls then, please?
Sure. That's a 2 and a 6.
Okay. So this changeling's blades are flashing out at you now. She's enraged. You've seen this before. She's lost it. She does not expect to survive, but she's determined to take someone down with her. One of her strikes with her main fencing sword flashes out and definitely manages. It cuts a line across your cheek all the way up to your temple. It's not deep, but it's bleeding quite profusely. Take 2 toughness, please.
Yep.
And now it's your turn.
I think it's probably time to return the favor.
Mm-hmm.
Smash her in the face with the sword.
Sure, absolutely. That's at a -8, please.
-8. That's nothing. That's nothing like a success.
Sure. I think maybe you can strike out at her, but it's rather difficult to hit someone when they're attacking so wildly at you and with so little concern for their own life, because you want to preserve yours, and therefore you're spending far more effort on defending the blows than you are from striking. Aaron Dar, please.
Okay, I am.
And you know what? I think we said. Well, I think we've said that you can only intentionally engage. 2 people can be faced without being flanked, right? Which is our house rule. She's already facing Steo for sure because she's been fighting Steo for a couple of rounds. She's now facing Alindra, so I'd say you can flank.
Okay, I'm going to flank her then.
In which case you're attacking at a -6.
Okay.
Let's see if Aaron comes up again.
Success.
Excellent.
And 7 damage.
Does that include the advantage
Yes.
of plus 1d4? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That is not past her pain threshold.
Damn it.
But you do manage, you strike out and your parrying dagger embeds into the muscle of her arm, but she doesn't seem to particularly notice it. Just like switches the grip on her dagger, so it's become more of like a weapon to wildly swing with, and carries on attempting to drain the lifeblood from Elindra. Steo.
Okay. At this point, were I in full control of my faculties, I'd be screaming for everyone to get after Irfons, but I am very interested in doing a bit of stabby today, so I will continue. Sure. -8, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
7s is...
-6.
No,
because
she hasn't gone past the pain threshold.
No, all of us count as flanking, I believe.
No,
I just
she's facing 2 of you. She's facing Elindra and Steo, and you, hence you flanked her. Only 4 individuals can engage 1 human scale individual at a time. Our house rule is 2 of these can be faced without being flanked, and the ones being faced.
Irregardless, it is a failure.
Okay. And the ones being faced are Elindra and Steo, so that's how you got the flank.
I thought that rule pertained that if there were 2 people, it meant it doesn't have to count as a flank. But if someone is being flanked, then according to the rules, they're flanked by everyone.
No.
Okay.
I don't understand where you've got that from. That's...
In the flanking section says, in this case, if 2 persons flank an enemy, both of them gain an advantage against the target. We're saying 2 doesn't count, but theoretically, if 3 people are flanking, then all 3 of them count as flanking.
But you're not flanking. Well, I don't... I don't understand what... Yeah, so... Yeah, I don't understand. Sorry, I'm not understanding you at all.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Regardless,
our house rule, which we've had since very near the beginning, is that a person can engage 2 people at once without being flanked. And anyone over that can flank them at will.
Okay.
Which is what Stephen put in the private chat as well. But yeah. So we will go with that because that is what I've always gone with. So if there's any changes to be made to flanking, let's do it off stream. Steo, you missed. Anton, what are you doing?
I will get to my feet. And is there a way for me to also get around the changeling, or is that like a space?
Oh yeah, completely. You're away from that fight now. I'm also going to rule, by the way, which I suppose is horrible of me, but I think being transformed into a monitor lizard has taken away your blessed shield.
Okay. In that case,
because you don't have to roll to maintain it, do you?
No.
Then it hasn't.
No,
that's fine.
I think lizard or no, I don't think he's lost his faith in Prios.
Yeah. Sure. No, that's fine.
By the way, who had someone gets turned into a lizard on their Telling Tales bingo card tonight? Because you
everyone.
Everyone.
I mean, I had Anton gets turned into a lizard because that's pretty much a gimmick.
Yeah. If anyone was going to be turned into a lizard, it would be Anton. So there we go. Incidentally, I'm just playing according to the rules here. Hate that power. Hate it. Does not belong in this game. Doesn't belong in this game.
It doesn't feel very Symbaroum-y.
No.
I will. I think Anton's been on his hands and knees if he's been sick. So and probably moving closer to the combat is probably all he can achieve in this round, I would think.
You can move it to. I think you're a distance away that you can run and engage if you want, or you could run after Irfons. I think you can move significantly. I don't want to restrain what you can do because according to the rules, you're back to normal. So
okay, I will have a fight then.
Okay, you can flank then.
Yeah.
So that's a -6.
A -6. Yeah. This is holy shit. I rolled a 2. That'll do it.
I love how you just resigned yourself to not hitting.
Well, there's form, right? Yeah.
Give us that attack roll then.
Yeah, that's a 1. There we go.
Yeah, we go. There's an extra D4 to damage from flanking, by the way.
Oh yeah, true. That's another one. Yeah,
Good.
two in total.
Well, that's their armor value. So precisely unimpactful. That's our Anton. Yeah, but you run in and slam the flail on the back of the changeling, but she's far beyond noticing that kind of thing now. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's the end of round 4.
Stop counting these rounds so
Nope.
conspicuously, Matt.
Nope. Ascarai.
I'm going to take 2 shots at this changeling.
Sure. So that's 2 rolls at -8, please.
Okay, God. I need a 7. I missed the first one. And I missed the second one. I rolled 11 on both.
Okay. 2 misses from Ascarai. The changeling, I see no reason why she would change targets right now. She just wants to cut someone down. So Elindra, 2 defense rolls at -6, please.
Righto. -6, 7. No, those are both failed.
2 armor rolls then, please.
Okie dokie. It's a 3 and a 1.
Okay. This time she manages to batter away. As I say, very difficult to defend against someone who doesn't care if they live or die. She's reaching around your longsword, taking kind of small cuts into her leathers and her silks. And as she does so, she's still just basically going for your face. She just wants to plant those blades right into your skull. And you're left with 2 other cuts, one slight across the bridge of your nose and one deeper across your forehead for a total of 3 toughness, please.
3 toughness, direct to the face.
Right to the face. And it's your turn.
I'm not having that. Yeah, I want an eye.
You want an eye.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if you get one. Roll at -8.
No, that's a 20.
So that might be your eye. It's not her eye. So that's a fumbled attack. So that's a free attack again. So give me another defense roll at -6, please.
Sure, why not? I passed that one.
Hey, there we go. So your
After-
clumsy blow out at her causes a retaliation, but you kind of dodge your face out of the way to avoid yet another slice.
That's a successful defense this turn, though, right?
Ooh, yeah, you get your backslash, right?
I get the okay. So yeah, there's the backslash from the failed attack. So I get another attempt, but there is also, after a successful defense per turn, I can attempt to push back out of combat,
engagement,
which also does 1d6 damage. So
okay, well let's
do
take
that.
let's take the free attack first.
Okay, so we are minus. Wow, that's a 1.
So that's a hit. Oh my god,
swingy, isn't it?
Nice.
But that's only going to do 1d8 damage.
Well, no, because it's a 1, it won't.
Oh.
So you get a plus d6 to that.
D8 plus d6, which is 6 in total.
6 in total.
And
okay.
Do we want to do the other d6?
Yeah, let's do the other thing. So do you have to contest strong with?
Yes,
with
it's a contested strength test.
Okay, in that case, roll your strong at a +1.
Yeah, that's a pass.
Okay, and then that's just an automatic d6 damage, right?
Yeah, which is another 3.
Another 3 damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's what happens. She, as I say, has come for you. You raise your longsword to try and deflect, kind of swinging it wildly through the air. She slips around, but just before she can plant that knife in your face again, you swing back and she has overreached. You carve a good chunk out of her neck with that blow, and then you step forward and how do you want to push her back? You want to kick her? You want to pommel strike? What do you want to do?
I think a boot straight to the guts.
A boot straight to the guts. You lash out with your heavily armor-clad foot. It crashes into her abdomen. You hear an unpleasant, sickening crunch and the feel of bones giving way underneath, and she collapses back on the ground, wheezing and gasping for breath and coughing blood over the floor. Within seconds, she is spasming and unconscious. You've punctured her lung. You know this from experience. She's dead. She just hasn't stopped breathing yet.
That went
well.
quick.
She has stopped breathing. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But, yeah. No one else in the way.
Just running towards the cursed isle.
Okay.
I might throw Elindra the vial of Water of the Dusk if she needs it.
Absolutely.
Nod the thanks. Drink from the vial simultaneously. Just cut her face up a bit more. It's rude.
Okay.
What's the vial? Is it D6?
D10.
D10. Lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I don't have one of those on my dice roller. A 10. Lovely. Which is more than I need.
Okay. I mean, that drinking and also that corpse mutilation, good guys, is going to, I'd definitely say delay you at least a little bit. So let's have, so the rest of you just dashing full pelt towards the tunnel that Earthon's disappeared into. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay. Ahead of you as you run, you can feel that thundering heartbeat echoing through the tunnel, through the cavern, up through into Thistlehold above as you go, becoming ever louder, ever more frequent. The traces of odd blue energy it leaves in the air now, popping around you like concentric circles, sort of expanding into odd coruscating bubbles in the air. You barrel forward through this tunnel, your feet wet underfoot with the small stream that runs through here, and you emerge onto that spit of land, reaching out towards the Crystal Isle in the vast, dark cavern where the blackened lake lies. And ahead of you, you can see that the Crystal Isle seems to have been amended in certain ways. Large rocks, presumably dragged from the rockfall at the entrance to the sinkhole, have been moved across, and torches wedged between them so that they point out in 6 different directions, in kind of the what would there be 6 directions? 8 directions in the cardinal directions, and the ones in between. You can see that there is a vast podium that has been put together with stacked boulders in the center of this, and you can see a figure kind of standing above that podium, a figure who looks far too large to be human anymore. It's holding a small figure in its hand that seems to be grasping some kind of glittering weapon. I take it we're making our way forward as fast as possible. Okay.
Is this scene still ongoing, by the way, Matt?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same scene. That's fine. You can definitely have your Blessed Shield. Don't worry. Elindra, you'll see this kind of 10 or 20 seconds later as you emerge behind the others. Okay, as you wade forward into the waters of the lake onto the Crystal Isle, John, can we have the final image of the campaign, please? What was Alabra Ambriagos is there, stood above the head of Eox, still huffing and lowing as it somehow lives on that improvised rocky podium. Alabra Ambriagos looks a little different to how he does in that image, because the ritual is already underway. His transformation, his ascendance, his godhood has already begun. He is taller, massive, covered in thick, leathery skin in shades of deep blue. His head has become deformed, elongated, pointed, and crowned with 3 short horns at the temple and neck. He looks like there is still an intelligence within him, but for the moment it is bestial and rage-filled. From his grasp, he drops Erfon's, who kind of slowly starts to attempt to crawl and drag himself away from him. Erfon still draws breath, but you don't know for how long. The being turns, sees you, and howls, a noise that echoes even over the disembodied thumping heartbeat of Eox's life. I think we got another fight on our hands because he ain't going to talk. Can we have, please, initiative, John, the group, and the title of Alaba in this case? Do we want Alaba or the name of the form he has become? As our, it's up to you guys. What do we prefer on our initiative?
Oh, let's go. End of Power Rangers episode. Tell me the true name.
Okay.
And also
now I
spell it for us, please.
I won't need to spell it for you. So I want no chickens in baskets here. This is just the name of this form, okay? Let's not reach any conclusions from this. But the name of the form is Prince of the Abyss. I'll tell you right now, to avoid any confusion, it's just the name. I don't know why.
I thought it was going to be F&A.
I don't know why they made a shadowy mastermind called the Prince and then put multiple different things called Prince in this book. Well, maybe I do know why. Maybe that is why. Anyway, he has Quick 10 and Vigilant 9, so not big, not huge. He, however, is big and huge.
Quick 10, Vigilant 9. This guy's going to be a pushover.
Oh my!
He might
God.
be.
Why? Why did you
He
say
might be.
that?
Yeah.
Especially
gonna
you
be
who have
Ascarai
made
first,
like
isn't it?
precisely 3 rolls
It's gonna be
so
Ascarai
far.
first.
And
I'm
combat.
gonna judge, unless anyone has objection, that Alindra doesn't go in this round because he's still approaching from the other end. So Ascarai, what are you going to do?
Are they within bow shooting range?
They're definitely within bow shooting range.
Then I'm going to bow shoot them with my armor piercing thing.
Sure.
Rather than a double shot.
So it's a shot at +8.
At +8. Okay.
They're very large.
If I don't roll a 20, I hit. I roll a 6. So I hit.
Give me that damage then.
10 plus 1. I got a 7. Plus 1 is 8 damage, ignoring armor.
Okay. 8 damage, ignoring armor. So your arrow slams in to the Prince of the Abyss's skull between two of those horns reaching out from his crown. And you can see that whatever Alaba has become, he doesn't even recognize the impact and kind of leaps over the top of the podium and starts kind of pouring at the ground with one foot ready to charge. Well, all of you, essentially. Elindra, you're running up from behind here and basically got into a position where you can see what's happening on the isle ahead of you. You can see Ascarai loose this arrow and see the relative lack of impact it seems to have on Alaba's form. Aaron, it's your turn.
If it is, I'm going to basically try and scatter from the group.
Mm-hmm.
So
like
not...
in an attempt to kind of move around this creature's back, sort of thing, or
yes. I was more going to say so that if it charges, it doesn't instantly like bowling ball strike all of us. But
sure, yeah.
Just trying to move like perpendicular to it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So you're moving around to the side so that it has to charge. Like if it charges the group, like you won't be part of the group, and if it charges you, then it's not charging everyone else. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Steo, how about you?
Am I going to be able to engage it this turn?
Yeah, because I would say it jumped over the podium, which is out of its turn, and was a narration by me, but it seems unfair to not let you do that now. So yeah, you can charge in and engage.
So as I am engaging, that means I get my reaction. I will use that reaction to hopefully proc Master Polearm. and keep him.
Go for it. Well, it's an attack at +8, so
yeah. So basically,
everyone is hitting except on 20s, right? I think
14 is good.
There we go. Give me your
D10
damage
plus
roll,
one.
please.
That's a 5, which I'm not going to sniff at.
Okay. Your spear arcs out as you reach the edge of your range with the thing that was Alaba Ambriagos, and you feel your spear impact on that leathery hide and go no further. So that was your engagement attack, I believe, and now you get your actual attack.
Yep. What's a 19 though? And 11 damage.
11 damage. Okay. And I assume you're preventing it from engaging with you.
Yes, it is
because
clear
you've
from...
just hit twice in a row, so it still has to come in closer to try and hit you.
Yeah.
So, you lash out this time and manage to pinpoint exactly the point in Alaba's hide where you struck before, and this time, presumably weakened by your first blow, it gives way, and a sickening bluish black ichor pumps out from the wound, instantly washing a foul scent over you. But you hurt him. You hurt him. We go to the prince's turn, where first thing that happens is you see that wound that Steo opened up on his side start to steam before the flesh visibly starts knitting and crossing over itself as the prince regenerates some of the damage dealt to him. Now, here's the interesting thing. See, if he tries to attack Steo, he gets knocked back, right? Or potentially knocked back if you hit, which you probably will do.
Yeah.
It does occur to me, against large things, this is basically an infinite loop.
Pretty much, he can engage someone else without
yeah,
any,
and I think that's the only thing I guess I'll do. So I am going to roll a random thing of who the prince charges. I'll leave Alindra out of it though, but it won't be Steo. So, how are we feeling, Anton?
Okay.
For our listeners, Mike just said, "Oh no," off mic. So there we go. Well, the first thing that happens though, Steo, is you get a free attack.
Yep.
Oh no, you don't. It's
no,
not engaged.
I don't, because he doesn't.
He's not engaged
me,
with you. Okay. So there we go. There's a slight disadvantage of it. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Could you give me, please? Because here's the question: what's his attack stat? I think it's just flat. Yeah. Can you just give me a flat defense roll, please, Anton?
No, don't make it.
Don't make it, huh? Well, let's have that. Let's have that armor roll then, please.
5.
5. Okay, then. And what is your pain threshold?
4.
Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So the prince barrels into you and lashes out. You can see now up close that in one hand, it has now kind of melded and merged with the hand a horrible looking blackened curved dagger. And as it barrels into you, at first you think you avoided the cut from it as it kind of knocks you reeling over to one side. And then you kind of look down and feel a sickening coldness spreading through your side as the blood starts seeping through your Theurg's robe. You feel your limbs stiffen and your breathing come to a kind of grating slow as you topple over to one side. You are paralyzed for this turn and the next turn and have taken 4 toughness. Anton, what are you doing? Nothing. Askarai, you're on mute.
I'm gonna do another armor piercing shot, but first, is there any way I can move away from this thing while staying on land?
No, not really. I mean, you could try and retreat into the water. You haven't seen any of those pale forms swimming around that you saw when you killed the old witch.
This is the water we kind of walked across at some point.
Yeah, you have you had to walk across it to get here. You came from that spit of land jutting out onto this crystal isle out in the dark lake.
I'm gonna stay on the land, I think.
Okay.
Maybe next time.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm gonna take my armor piercing shot. No 20s, please. Okay, I rolled a 6.
Okay, and the damage?
The damage is a 6 + 1, 7.
Not bad at all. Another arrow sprouts from the Prince of the Abyss's skull. You seem to have a bead on that part of him now. It is rather a large target with this elongated, pointed head. And again, the being that was Alaba doesn't seem to register it at all and simply roars in pleasure at the collapsed priest on the ground in front of it. Elindra, you're there.
I arrive. Is this for Revenant Strike purposes? Is this still the same scene?
Yeah, we've said it is for Blessed Shield, so
Cool.
Absolutely.
I'm going to cover the distance and get straight in there, I think.
Get straight in there then. Give me an attack roll at +8, please.
That is a success. So then damage is D8 plus D4. 8.
8 damage, you say. Your longsword arcs through the air, leaving a stream. I think we decided kind of like it's got a kind of purplish, blackish flame the Revenant Strike has in it. It's kind of the heat of it scores a line across Alaba's flesh, but as you kind of like take a step away to bring your guard back, you can see no visible mark on the flesh of the creature. You struck hard and struck true, but this abomination is tough.
I guess also that was the free attack on engagement, so
do I
get
so
to go again?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. Second attack succeeds. Damage is 11 this time.
11 this time. That's significantly better. Again, maybe you saw Steo do it ahead of you, or maybe you just learn the same lesson a second time. You strike out with your longsword, perhaps a thrust this time, and it cleaves into the side of the Prince of the Abyss, leaving a pulsing, ichor seeping wound on its side. Alaba kind of staggers back from this blow and kind of leans over to one side, one hand resting on a crystal, and sort of shakes its head dumbly as if trying to dislodge the 2 arrows that are stuck into its cranium almost to the feathers. It's not dead yet, but it certainly seems to be reeling. Aaron Dar.
I'm going to try and approach it from behind and hopefully get an advantage from that.
So this is the interesting thing. Like, how much can you flank something that's not human? So I'd say, given how I've just described it, I'm happy for you to flank it.
Fantastic. +8, yeah.
+8, well, +10 now, but yeah. It's just whether you hit a 20 or not is the only thing that matters, really.
That's, oh my god, that is a hit, but it's a shocking amount of, it's only 3 damage.
Then your both of your blades do nothing as they just glance off the incredibly tough, leathery, scaly, bluish tinged hide. Steo.
Okay. So it is not currently engaged with me.
Nope.
So I'm going to engage it, thus attempting to reproc Polar Mastery, making it in a situation where it's no longer engaged with me.
Yep.
20s or less, that's a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Damage is 11. I'm happy with that.
11. Okay. Aaron, as you step back from the seeming lack of damage you have done to it, it turns round to face you, still kind of reeling and shaking its head from the arrows in its skull. You back slightly away as it steps, maybe glancing, if you don't mind me speaking for your character, maybe glancing down at the ground slightly and stepping away from where Anton is prone on the floor, so its large clawed feet don't impact on the prone priest as he lies there helpless. It takes a step towards you, raises that blackened dagger, and bellows loudly, almost kind of a good 2 feet from your face, and you feel the spittle and the heat of its breath wash over from you, and the stench directly from some horrible, corrupted depth within Davakar. And as it does so, an armored form appears at your side. Steo strikes out, and with one brazen, flashing thrust, the spear tip disappears inside Erlaba Ambriagus's mouth and cracks out from the back of his skull. It reels backwards, almost pulling Steo off his feet as he desperately holds to try and wrench the spear away. It steps backwards, roars again, and for a moment, you think that these 3 kind of piercing blows to the head won't be enough. And then, with a mewling cry, the prince staggers back 2 steps, topples over, and vanishes beneath the dark waves of the lake. You can see pale forms, the wraith forms of the dead beast clan, swarming and shoaling over it. To what end, you don't know, whether they are feeding or they are gaining some measure of arcane revenge that only they might know. But this Prince of the Abyss, the being formerly known as Alabra Ambriagos, disappears between the dark waves within seconds. The thumping sort of starts to sort of steady itself somewhat, but not disappear. And there is a booming lowing coming from Eox's mouth as the entire kind of atmosphere of the cavern seems to return to normalcy. For what normalcy you can have with the lowing, kind of disembodied head of a god on a crystal isle in the center of a dark lake in a forbidden cavern. We're out of combat.
Do I feel less stabby?
You definitely feel less stabby. Yes, the booming has reached a more normal level. Those kind of bluish energies in the air are gone, and the concentric rings and everything like that. Yes, absolutely.
It's just standard Godhead booming now.
Mm-hmm.
Just the normal kind.
And Tom, you can start to kind of recover yourself.
Okay.
I'm going to dive for Irfans and see if I can stabilize him.
Yeah, he is kind of like on his side. He looks pale, and he definitely has a deep wound to his side, but he's definitely alive. Do you want to give me a quick cunning medicus roll? See if you can stabilize him.
I do, and I am, we'll see if I pass the test, but I'm going to definitely burn Herbal Cure on the poor fella. Cunning, 11. I rolled a 13. But I do apply the cure anyway, which is like a D4.
Yeah.
4. That's good.
Doesn't a herbal cure just do 1 if you apply it without a successful roll?
Oh, you're right.
So, yeah.
You're 100% correct.
It's still healing. Let's say you still stabilize him. He sort of kind of regains consciousness as you do that, and kind of gasps in pain a bit, and then says, "Is it done?"
We got him. It's not done yet. We got to get the skull back to the forest.
Well, you took enough time getting here, so maybe let's get moving.
Yeah. I'll carry Irfans and
So
start to help Anton to his feet.
So we have a continuity question, I think, which is Gadramon, the witch. I remember the witches joined us in the tannery. I don't remember if the witches left the tannery after Elindra and came
they did
down
not.
the
No, they did not. Because one of them was Gadramon was wounded, and Ephanea was kind of looking after him.
And they both stayed to watch over the body of the Theurg.
Yes.
Okay. Gadramon is the person that was supposed to have given us instructions on what to do with Eox.
We know we have to take it out to the forest somewhere. So first thing, get out of this cave, I suppose.
If
Does it come out through the sinkhole? Does it go under the forest through the caverns?
Get it out through the sinkhole. We know the captain's upstairs. We can clear us a way to the gate, get the gate opened. We've done enough tonight to warrant some special treatment from the guard and an exceptional opening of the gate.
I think this falls outside Night Pitch's brief to be quiet and discreet about this, but also I think Night Pitch is not high on my list of priorities in dealing with this right now. How big
The
is
job's
this
done
thing?
when the
Matt?
skull's in the forest.
Oh, it's real big.
Yeah,
It's definitely going to take at least 3 of you to lift.
and then we've got to somehow drag it out of a sinkhole.
It might be easier to find an actual entrance to the caverns already in the forest than to. How would we even get it out of the sinkhole?
we don't
We'll
know
haul
how
it up
far
on
the
ropes.
tunnels go.
I'm not going into the underside of Davokar after tonight. Let's haul it up on the ropes,
Hoi!
move it out of town. If people
Hoi!
ask questions, they can ask.
Who's on the aisle?
Us.
Who's asking?
Marvello. You see
Got some lads down
fig-
here. We need a lift.
like a figure emerging from the darkness where you emerge from, essentially into the torchlight that's coming off the crystal isle. It is indeed Marvello, who has kind of one arm wrapped in some kind of linens to salve a wound. Behind him are a couple of the city guard. Is it done?
We need
Mostly.
help lifting this out. It's done.
Are the witches with you?
Not the ones you're talking about, but I'll leave my guards here, and any of you who want, back to the entrance of the sinkhole.
I'll follow him to the entrance of the sinkhole.
So we're just leaving the thing?
You can, some of you can stay if you want. My guards will stay.
Tierra Tiana didn't say drag it into the forest. Tierra Tiana said Gadramon will tell us what to do with it. So we need Gadramon.
Let's at least get it off this island because we know this is corruption. We drag it back to the main hall. At least that'll break whatever awful sorcery is occurring here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Eox is still kind of making a noise, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I look
the
at
guards who are
Eox.
not Marvello is kind of looking at it with some amazement, but the guards look terrified.
I want to see whether I think Eox has any opinion on what we should do. Does Eox want off the island? Like, is there... I don't know. Can I get any impression about what this disembodied head feels about things?
I mean, no.
Fair.
No, the head seems to be in a state. It is kind of lowing, and occasionally the eyes seem to kind of move slightly, although that might be the flickering from the torchlight. But there seems to be no kind of like maybe any kind of intelligence that you can detect there, but you don't really know, and you're certainly not learned enough in the ways of forest gods to try and make any determination.
I think we have to at least remove it from this place.
Marvello nods and says, "That's fine. Let's get it into the main cavern then. You two, lift it." He points at the guards, who kind of look at each other with some trepidation and kind of step towards it slowly, like kind of waiting for one of you to maybe take a hold of it first.
Sure.
Okay. Anyone else from the group gonna lend a hand?
I will go and help.
I'll actually go as well. Yeah.
Let's bring the image of the head back up just so we can see what it looks like, because I think that the being has been described as kind of like an ox, right? And it's not unlike, but also it's worth noting that the head is covered in a kind of like almost like a layered carapace of of kind of hardened, almost looks like resin, and obviously there are kind of 4 great horns there rather than 2. Those large kind of saucer-like eyes, and you managed to between, I think there were 5 of you altogether. Maybe you do manage to get a grip on Eox's head and heft it up. There's no kind of like gore coming from it, no blood or anything like that. Everything seems to, it doesn't really seem to be working like a normal body would work. But I mean, that's probably evident from the fact that it seems to be still alive in some capacity. It is very heavy, but you manage to trudge kind of off the aisle through the water with some difficulties. You lift the head so it isn't sunken into the dark waves lapping on the shore of the lake, and then heave it into the main cavern, where you can see ahead of you that mound of rubble. You can still hear kind of thunder pealing above, and see the rain crashing down the sinkhole, and you see a number of individuals gathered at the foot, and you like maybe a couple more of them kind of climbing down from the rope from above.
The witch Gadramon, Marvello, did he leave the tannery, or is he still there?
I don't know where he is, but another witch wants to talk to you.
Which witch?
He points, and you can see Yagaba, the consort of Night Pitch, walking down the massive stack of rubble and slowly coming across to you. As she does so, you can see that she also has a quiver of storm arrows at her side, which are kind of like levitating slightly alongside her. And as she looks around the cavern, they kind of drop and hang on her waist in a more kind of calm and passive fashion. She walks over to you and does not acknowledge any of you in any way whatsoever, and kneels down on one knee and leans over and peers into Eox's deep, saucer-like amber eyes.
I think while this is going on, I'm going to talk to Anton. You feeling okay? You got turned into a lizard.
This is kind of a dumb question, but did Anton really realize that? Like, did he look down and see?
Yeah, I think he was aware of what had happened to him, even though certainly that he was like an animal or a beast of some kind.
A lizard. Yeah. That wasn't something that I wish to experience again.
Never.
It was unpleasant.
I can only imagine.
I feel better now that it's all finished.
Okay.
Not finished yet.
After a few minutes, Yagaba stands up and says, "The other, Gadramon." And you know what? Can we have Yagaba's portrait up as we do this, John? Is that all right?
Yeah, just give me a minute.
The other, Gadramon, received a dream sight not long ago. A communication from a friend of yours. The skull must be taken out into the forest. Night Pitch does not wish it to be seen. We have some knowledge of the tunnels here now. Several guards will be sent with you to help you carry. Gadramon and Ephenair will meet you out in Davakar and will lead you where you need to go.
Okay. I'll kind of present our funds and go, can you see to our friend he took the worst of the demon?
Marvello kind of takes Erfon's and holds him up off you. Yagaba nods and says, "He will receive the finest medical attention." Night Pitch does offer his thanks, but the job must be finished, and quietly.
We understand.
Okay.
Garber, looking as inscrutable as ever, lowers the veil over her face and turns and walks away. A few other guards have been kind of sent over from the group of them who are kind of generally arriving down on the ends of the ropes and walk over, replacing the other ones who are looking a bit shell-shocked. Marvello kind of turns and says, I'm not sure I'd be any good at helping you with that thing, but these are good men and women. Take them straight through and come straight back through the tunnels, mind, not through the forest. They kind of nod. They look like you recognize a couple of them, Steo. They're kind of more grizzled members of the town guard. They nod, and one of them kind of fishes out from under their cloak what seems to be a map of the tunnels.
Useful.
I'll take that.
The guard kind of definitely doesn't let you take it, kind of like holds it away and says, "It's all right, Father, I have it."
Where did that map come from?
Given to us by the witch, sir.
Oh. How nice of her.
Come on, Alindra. Let's get this thing lifted. Lads.
Yep. I get my shoulder under one of the horns.
You lift up the skull of Eox and start carrying it north past the Beast Clan's subterranean settlement and out into those, remember those northerly tunnels we didn't explore before, past the river, and before too long you start seeing roots, vines and fungus coming through the rock and earth around you, and you realize you are under the border of the forest. You travel even further, and the journey in total takes you maybe 2, maybe 3 hours before you feel the tunnel under your feet start to slowly elevate itself and rise upwards until you emerge from a crack in the ground deep inside Davokar. The city guards, looking somewhat relieved, wish you well, tuck their map back under their armor, and dash off at basically as fast as their feet will take them back through the tunnels, out of Davokar and back to Thistlehold as fast as they can. Above you, next to the crack, are waiting Gadramon, now bandaged up, and Ephanea, both astride their behemoths. They have formed a kind of sling of vines and plants between them from which Eox's head can be suspended. And as it's mounted into place, Gadramon leans down and looks across you all, and from behind his masks says, "Nevermore."
Nevermore.
Nevermore.
He turns to Anton and says, because obviously you can speak his language, "It is not too far, but you will be away from Thistlehold for at least a couple of days. But I assure you this must be done, and it is only right that you do it. You have righted a great wrong today."
We will do it gladly.
More choices are ahead of you. Make the right ones. He sits back up onto his mount, and you start traveling deeper into the forest, the still lowing head of Eox accompanying you as you stride forward. That's it. That's the end of Wrath of the Warden. We will find out what happens with the skull of Eox deeper into the forest, but we'll find that out in a different session, because I've decided it's labeled as Aftermath in the book. So I think we'll have a little. What we will do, in fact, is we're going to take a little break for probably 2 weeks at least, and then we'll come back and have a little session of like that kind of aftermath scene and some kind of fallout from Wrath of the Warden, maybe some character vignettes and stuff like that, and then we will hop into the odd for a while before we return to Symbaroum. But promo stuff. Before I do that, please do leave comments and questions and we will go through them. But first, check below. Links, YouTube, Twitch, you've watched on one, check out the other. There's links to our Discord, to our Patreon, to our social media. Please check those out. We regularly run 2 games at the moment, although they're both about to go on break for a couple of weeks. But when we return, we will have Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay on Mondays. And as I said, like probably a one-off Symbaroum episode first, and then we'll launch into the odd. But both of those are going to take a couple of weeks. I think, in fact, the only stream for the next 2 full weeks, or really 3, I know what I'm talking about. The next stream, the next weekly stream will probably be on the 25th, I think, for Warhammer. So we've got 2 full calendar weeks between here and then. The only stream in all that time will be Johnny's one shot, which will be on Saturday, the 16th of April, which is our Call of Cthulhu in Space Spectacular. So please do tune in for that one. And Warhammer should return on the 25th, and I imagine Symbaroum will return for that kind of one-off little vignettes and extra scenes session on the 27th, and then launching into the odd on 4th of May. And not long after that, Cincinnati Chronicles will return on Thursdays. So I'm going to have a couple of weeks mostly off apart from the one shot, and then a whole bunch of stuff to be thrown at you. So there's plenty of goodness coming up. Okay, and also, I don't know how much people have been acknowledged with our subscriptions and followers recently, because I definitely forgot to do it last week. So I'm going to go back a little way and thank just everyone from the last while who has subscribed to us and the like. 42 resubscribed for a 7-month run 9 days ago. Thank you, 42. We really appreciate it. Dublanic. That's how I'm going to pronounce that. I have a suspicion that perhaps Chris might know how to pronounce that more than I do, but thank you for the follow. Mr. Gnarly, thank you. Scott Thulu, thank you. Azimuth and Nightbites, again, both resubscribed. The latter for 8 months and Azimuth for a monumental 17 months, which I think is the length of the channel that we've been allowed to have subscriptions for. So thank you for that. I think that's everyone. If I missed other people, if other people haven't been mentioned, then I do apologize. John, get those comments coming, please. Lowin, that was a very well played first part of the Grand Campaign. Thank you all. And thank you, Lowin. Very much enjoyed doing it. Steve, so how did the players find that? Favorite moments? Let's go round. John, round counterclockwise.
I mean, the most recent memory is always my favorite. So I mean, probably as defeating a huge abomination, and immediately before that, Anton turning into a lizard. I think my actual favorite moments might be coming across the Hall of 1,000 Tears. Just like the entranceway, I had like a really good picture of it from obviously a Guillermo del Toro film, probably.
Yeah. That's a really good. Totally Pan's Labyrinth-esque. I find the elves in this. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and just like walking into the hall and that.
Steve has mentioned another thing in the chat, which I was about to retcon as well. The 2 witches, Gadramon and Ephanea, had Farron with them.
Yes, I was going to ask
when you met
that.
them in the forest. When you met them in the forest, the Meerkat was with them, so the Meerkat is with you.
I'm very glad.
Mike, favorite moments?
I really enjoy going into Davokar. That's always good fun. I actually think that the opening of this story, which was really combat heavy, but was still hugely exhilarating and a lot
very
of
atmospheric,
fun, and set the scene really well, and like exploring the sinkhole as well was like really, really good fun in a terrifying sort of way.
That beginning, like you say, it's very combat heavy. Like I think it would be quite a different experience off stream when you can just do it a bit more, because combat tends to drag a bit more when you're streaming it. But yeah, it's very atmospheric, and I love the kind of stage things that are completely affected by how well you do in the battle, and like that sense. It really has a sense of a battle and like the ebb and flow of it.
And also like Thistlehold has like existed as like our safe haven for like so long, and so like suddenly like Thistlehold under attack like sets the scene really brilliantly.
Yeah, and you can see like characters who you've either observed from afar or interacted with. You can see how they're reacting to it and what's happening to them because of it and stuff. Yeah, it's good. Stephen,
Find the mute button. So like there were a couple. There was just the ridiculously planned and then ridiculously executed sort of attempted heist on the winged ladle, and the sort of just murder of an old man in a farmhouse was a highlight. I think the moment that I kind of as a newer player mostly kind of felt like, is this the vibe of what Symbaroum is all about, was cleaning out the Red Eye in Blackmoor, where we were just plowing through those cultists and just feeling so dirty. That was very memorable.
Yeah, you're right. If anything defines Symbaroum, it's dirty plowing.
As with so many things.
Yeah, Chris, favorite moments.
There's a lot, and it's unfortunate that I can only really remember what happened in the last like 3 hours because I'm terrible. But I just want to put on the scoreboard that I have killed one boss, and so that was very pleasing for me, bringing the killing blow down on the big bad. As you semi-asked the follower with the name, which is at least 60% Gaelic, I would pronounce it Dúlanachid, but it seems stylized. There seems to be a decision about spelling made there that I'd argue about for hours if anyone would talk to me. Well,
there we go. If your name is Gaelic or Gaelic inspired, then there you go. Chris at least can pronounce it right. Sam, how about you?
This has kind of already been, has already been said, but I think going to Blackmoor was, I mean, I love the final scene, but apart from that, I think going to Blackmoor, it did feel really Symbaroum-y. It felt like we were doing our best and still getting punished for it. And I also just weirdly enjoy whenever Askrai nearly dies. So we got very punished for stupid decisions and slightly punished for even our actual good decisions and attempts.
Yeah, that's the closest a character has come in our campaign so far to dying purely mechanically, like dying from the rules, as opposed to we have had a character death, but that's been narrative, right? So yeah. There we go. Next, please, John. $42. Who was the warden and why are they angry? I
was thinking about this today. I don't know who I was thinking about it.
I think there's a number of options. I think it's possible that Eox is the warden. I also think it's possible that oh my god, I literally can't even remember. I think it's possible that Anadea is the warden.
Not very. She was a bit more dead than wrathful, but I think it was
you are her wrath.
Well, I suppose, yeah.
Oh,
that's good. I like that.
Oh, very literature.
My vote is for that mystic that Askrai one-shotted this session.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
What about the well?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
The well could be the warden. Yeah, or I'm not entirely sure. It may contain it in the book, but if it does, I read it and can't remember it. But yeah, I think there are a number of candidates that could be the warden. I don't know. Which is bad. I'll find that out. 42. How do you know they're twins and not just changelings that decided to look alike? That's a very good point. I mean, I know because it says in their character descriptions, but yeah, absolutely. By the way, I couldn't. I was going to work it in somehow, and then I thought, oh, is that just too obscure a thing? But if you are curious, one of the forms one of those changelings was very adept at was a nondescript woman with long blondish brown hair, who. So they're the one who lured you into an ambush. That obviously every ill that's happened to you was engineered by Alaba and that cult who were known as the Midnight Cult. So yeah, but there was no real way to kind of work it in. So yeah, if it was a film, I would have shown them changing shape after or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't really work. So
this was a more situational comment, but I can't leave it alone because I just read it with the Always Sunny theme playing.
The one where Farron eats Anton. Yeah, a tasty paralyzed treat or a tasty lizard treat. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Though I guess it's more of a Friends naming convention than Always Sunny, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's less funny though.
The Always Sunny one would be the gang eats Anton.
That's not
funny.
Yet.
The next campaign.
Steve, does Anton Lizard have poisonous saliva? No, Anton Lizard is entirely useless. He's obviously in direct contrast to Anton.
Good recovery.
Yeah.
Look, Anton would have been very useful there in that last scene if he hadn't got himself stabbed and paralyzed immediately. Because I absolutely know if it had rolled round to his turn, Anton would have been like, holy aura, holy aura, holy aura. And it would have really hammered the boss. It's incredibly powerful against abominations. But instead, you're like, hey, no, you didn't kill anyone. No.
You
killed someone in the tannery. You didn't get stepped on. You took a strike that someone else could have took. You were Prios's shield.
I also, in this session, I managed to successfully go through one combat action, and that didn't do any damage.
Yeah.
But you also put Blessed Shield on Steo, who did some really good work.
Yeah. You
saved
a lot of damage being dealt to Steo. So
also, if it wasn't for Anton, we'd have no idea what the witches are saying to us.
Yeah,
never get anywhere.
Yep,
that's true. And now we know that people can be turned into lizards.
Oh, so you guys are so nice.
Anton is wonderful utility.
Yeah, great utility.
42 being turned into a lizard should shake your faith. Well, yeah. But what if Prios wanted you to be a lizard?
I imagine lizards would probably quite like Prios.
That really came out of the blue. I really just wasn't expecting that to be the power that enemy
and
used.
The thing is, right, it doesn't say a specific animal. It just says it has to be a mammal or a reptile. And I was like, there were lizards down here, so I guess I'll do that. Hate that power. Hate it. I'm not gonna let anyone else use it again. Also, that combat at the end, I can't express how much better that combat went because you killed the wizard at the beginning. She had some obscene powers. There's one specifically called Confusion. And I'll actually read out it to you in stages here. So Confusion Novice basically means with an opposed resolute test, make the enemy unaware of its actions, roll 1d6 on the table each turn until the mystic breaks concentration or fails a resolute test. And it's basically either you stand still blinking stupidly, you attack whichever ally is closest or whichever enemy is closest, like it's a random roll. Then the next level, which she has, is you don't have to concentrate. So it removes the need to concentrate. So doing damage doesn't do anything. And then Master, which she also has, you can chain it. So if she confuses a target, you can try the next one. And the next one. And the next one. Until she fails a test. So she potentially could have cast it on all of you in one turn.
Damn.
Also, the thing where she forced a reroll on the attack against her, she could also force 2 other rerolls every round. One on any other roll affecting her, and one on any other roll affecting one of her allies.
I stand by my theory that she was the Warden.
She definitely wasn't.
Skills like that.
Oh, also she has Unholy Aura, which deals
Oh.
damage ignoring armor to anyone she wants and leaves anyone she doesn't want alone.
That's
God.
much better than Holy Aura.
So, like, yeah, it's pretty. Killing her early was pretty good. The ogre didn't get to use one of its fancy powers either, and but barring that, I will reveal that end round I doubled the prince's health, and just ignored his pain threshold because his health was 10,
Oh wow!
which seems ludicrous. It's just the same as Alaba's health, and his pain threshold is 4. So you would have killed him with the second hit. I was like, that doesn't feel right. Which just goes to show I should make up stuff more often.
What was his armor?
8. His armor's pretty big.
Okay.
But like,
His armor's
that's
pretty big.
useless when you've got Ascarai in the party.
Yep.
So without Ascarai, it would have I think it still would have been kind of challenging. But yeah.
The armor
So
piercing is
double
going to be
health.
really good against bosses for sure. isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's-
As well as Steo's just I can keep anything large with bad defense away constantly.
But these characters are at about the level that the game expects for this campaign,
Correct.
right? So
Yeah, correct. Although I always think like because you're meant to have 50 experience going into this, which you did, but then it's like, does it also balance for the fact that you're going to have loads more experience by the end? See what I
Well,
mean? I don't know.
You'd have to ask the people that wrote it, but
Yeah.
like it seems to me that there's definitely possibilities in the campaign. Like we had it a couple of times where sort of big bads were one-shotted or kind of dispatched very quickly.
Yeah.
I think there were some really good rolls in the fights tonight, though. People were rolling some ones, and obviously Ascarai's first hit on the first combat was just
It was an insta kill.
ludicrous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it was super lucky, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah, I
had good
would-
damage. We had good damage rolls. We didn't have
I will
great
be-
like to hit rolls.
I will very much be calibrating combats a bit more going forward. I think it was fine in the end because they were just there to hold you up for. Was talking really an option versus first group? It was in that they wanted to keep you talking to delay you as long as possible. I suspect talking would have delayed the group and caused the end boss to be further through the transformation. Maybe Steve is absolutely 100% spot on, and
Mhm.
you know what it was? The 6th round, and you finished in the 5th. And
Oh,
let me tell you, that ending would have been very different with round 6 because for a start, the fight would not have happened down there because the first thing that final form does is rocket through the ground above the Crystal Isle, causing a further sinkhole to collapse around the heavily corrupting Crystal Isle and start to rampage through Thistlehold. And they are tough and
damn,
lethal.
wow.
And it basically becomes a running battle through Thistlehold, trying to like help people who are dying. Like almost like the beginning at the sinkhole, but then ending in like a boss fight, which you may well not succeed at.
Oof.
So yeah,
That is an insanely kind of swingy, knife-edged, balanced encounter. Then
I
Yeah,
don't
Kind
think
of
that
like
was-
it. Kind of like it. Like this is what's good about Symbaroum. It's like you still get punished.
yeah.
Like
The flip side of that is if you can actually get to Ilaba before he transforms at all, but you
Just-
have to set off from the tannery instantly as soon as you have the visions. And I think you have to finish that combat against his cult leaders in I think it's like 1 round or something ridiculous. Yeah, you have to do it in 1 round. But you could do that by just some of you running onwards like Earthons did. So
and we
But
almost
it's
made it from the tannery, right? Like I had to slow up a bit.
yeah,
while
but I
everyone
just
else
figured
caught-
it wasn't quite instant enough. I thought so. And you wouldn't have made it through them in 1 round anyway. So
No, yeah.
so does
There we
that
go.
mean? I don't know, like that there are diverging paths in future events where,
I think it because none of the other big chunks of Throne of Thorns are set in Thistlehold.
Okay.
I don't think it particularly has to address them, but the idea is that a good portion of Thistlehold is wrecked. Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
Or it is also comeuppance because basically the kind of revelation is Alaba does not become this demonic abomination. The demonic abomination takes over Alaba, so he's actually destroyed as soon as the transformation completes.
Is Eox still
Fuck
saved?
around, find out. No, Eox is destroyed if he transforms into Midnight.
Wow.
I think. Yeah.
Good
Because the
job,
final
guys.
form is called Midnight. Yeah. But it didn't happen. You did it. You did it. You did it. Have we got anything else, John?
We did it.
Ascarai rethinks his pushover comment as a free action. Yeah. Greetings, adventurers. Hi, Vancouver by night. Good to see you. I think we have seen you here before. There we go, folks. There we go. Thank you so much for watching. Lowen, you know the campaign is not necessarily played with the same characters. You could change between different groups in the campaign. Yeah, we can do that. I do like the continuity though. It feels fairly good. But we'll see. We've got options before we return to the Witch Hammer. So
we have had at least one player talk about how much they would like to maybe move on to a different character, and us trying to convince him to just retire and not kill his character off. But
you have no sense of drama is your problem.
I just want Steo to retire to a farm and have a nice life.
Happy.
Maybe a dog.
Yeah. So yeah. Thanks so much for watching, folks. That has been a long story. We have played Wrath of the Warden. As I say, we will be taking a couple of weeks off, and then we'll be back with a special, one-off Symbaroum episode with some vignettes and story bits. And then we will be launching into a shortish story of Into the Odd, which is a great little system. And then we'll be back to either do a longer Symbaroum story of another kind, or more likely to launch straight into part 2 of Throne of Thorns, which is called The Witch Hammer. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very, very much to my wonderful players here. Take care and stay safe, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.